for April 4th, 2022. Adequate notice has been given in accordance with the Sunshine Law. Notice was published on December 16th in the Star Ledger, the official newspaper for the Township of Springfield, and in the Annex on December 17th, 2021. Let's do a salute to the flag, please. I pledge allegiance
To
the flag of
the
the
United States of America and to the republic for which it
which
stands,
stands
one nation, under
under
God,
God,
indivisible, with
liberty
liberty and
justice for all.
Okay, well, thanks everyone for joining us. Could we have a quick roll call, please?
Sure. Mayor Alexander Kaiser,
Present.
Committeeman Rich Huber,
See,
Mr. David Barnett is absent, Mr. Andrew Schwartz,
I am here.
Mr. Aaron Lawfer,
Here.
Mr. Brian Brendel is absent, Ms. Marissa Ruggiero,
I am here.
Ms. Vice Chair Sharon Kessel,
I'm here.
Chairman Jeffrey Tiger,
Yes.
Mr. Thomas Lopes is absent, and Mr. Scott Wishna.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Perfect. Okay. Couple quick housekeeping things. Our next meeting is Monday, April 18th. It will be in person in the town hall at 6:30 p.m. We will work through. Jen will send a reminder out. We'll try to spread out the room as best as possible to make people comfortable. We're still working through some conflicts with the court because the court is now on Monday nights as well. We'll have to see what we're going to do for future meetings after that because we'll have to look at what the court schedule is compared to what ours. So let's go right into the meeting. Last meeting, we had a resolution, T-Mobile Northeast LLC waiver, 118 Victory Road, Block 301, Lot 9. This was for waiver of site plan. The board granted it. Do I have a motion to approve said resolution?
Motion.
Anyone second it? I think
I'll
Sharon-
second. I'll second.
Okay, good.
I
Second.
tried. I was still on mute though.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Kaiser,
Yes.
Mr. Lawfer,
Yes.
I'm not doing it.
I hear you rumble.
Mr. Wishna,
Yes.
Vice Chair Kessel,
Yes,
and Chair Tiger.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, we have a similar waiver application like we did last month. This is for Verizon Wireless, 1 Cornell Parkway, Block 3903, Lot 16. Pooh, if you don't mind, if you could see if you could bring in the attorney for the applicant. Jen, who is the attorney? Ms. Law?
Mr. Purcell is coming on.
Perfect.
Hello.
Hello, let me see if I can see you, Mr. Purcell. Yes, I can. Mr. Purcell, this should be a fairly short application. Are you representing Verizon Wireless?
I am correct.
Okay. Let me quickly turn this over to Mr. Disco. Mr. Disco has had a chance to review the application. I want to make sure he agrees that it meets all state standards for a site plan waiver. Mr. Disco?
Not only that, all federal requirements as well. So it's certainly well within our ordinance to have this as a waiver application. It's really antennas switching in and out, which is very frequent these days on all towers. So very straightforward.
Mr. Purcell, will you agree with that?
Yeah, that's correct on both counts factually and as with respect to the federal law component.
Perfect. Any questions? I'm just going to go back to the board. Any questions of the board? Let me ask any questions of Mayor Kaiser.
I do not have questions for this witness.
Committeeman Rich Huber,
No,
Mr. Schwartz,
No questions.
Mr. Loeffler,
No questions.
Mrs. Ruggiero,
nothing for me.
Mr. Wishna,
No questions.
Mrs. Kessel,
No questions.
and I have no questions. Anything further, Mr. Purcell?
Mr. Purcell, what's your
No.
first, state your name for the record, sir?
Edward Purcell,
Thanks, Ed.
attorney at Price Meese. Yep. No, Mr. Chairman, that's it. Just a waiver.
Okay, perfect. Any members of the public wish to speak on this application for a site plan waiver for Verizon Wireless? Apu, anyone raising their hand?
Seeing none.
Okay, seeing none, I'm going to take this to the board to remand back to the board. Does anyone have any questions or concern from the board? If not, we can entertain a motion for approval.
Question.
I see
Motion for approval?
Mr. Huber, you're requesting a motion for approval for site plan waiver for the application.
Yes.
And
I
Mr.
am
Huber-
seconding.
Okay, someone seconded. Perfect. Let's go a quick roll call.
Committeeman Huber,
Yes.
Mr. Schwartz,
Yes.
Mayor Kaiser,
Yes.
Mr. Lawfer,
Yes.
Ms. Ruggiero,
Yes.
Mr. Wishna,
Yes.
Vice Chair Kessel,
Yes.
and Chairman Tiger.
Yes, perfect. Mr. Purcell, I'm assuming you want to waive readings so that way you can start putting up your towers and stuff right now, or are you good with waiting for the resolution at the next planning board meeting?
I have to go, I think we would waive the reading,
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
All right, I don't see, none of the board have any concerns with that, operating at their own risk?
Nope.
Good. Okay, good luck. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, next application is application 1-2022S. This is for 539 Mizell Avenue, 6 Shadow Lawn Drive and 8 Shadow Lawn Drive, blocks 2003, lots 2, 5, and 6. This is for a minor subdivision lot line adjustment. Apu, if you don't mind bringing in the applicant and the attorney. I believe it's Clara Heroic, and I don't know who is going to be her witness. One witness. Clara, I can't see you. There you go.
Okay.
So
Ken Gruskin, Kenneth Gruskin.
Good. If you can bring in.
He's just not on video right now, I see.
Okay, well, we'll put him on video if he can open up his video. So for the board's information, this is basically redrawing some lines. This is 3 lots. One lot is a very large lot on Mizell Avenue, and they're adding it to 6 and 8 Shadow Lawn Drive. The lots will then be conforming. I believe Mr. Disco, we'll turn over to Mr. Disco, but I believe that Mr. Disco confirmed that the lot on Mizell would have enough lot area for a patio or deck or something along the line, and they can talk through this. But Mr. Disco, you want to give the board a quick update, and then we'll turn it over to the council to do a brief opening and her witness.
It's, as you stated, 539 Mizell Avenue, which backs up to the their side yard shares rear yards with the properties on Shadow Lawn, is giving up property. They do not create any variances. There's no exacerbation of anything. And they've anticipated a future patio and deck. And even with those figured in, they will be conforming for the reduced lot size on that lot. And the 2 properties on Shadow Lawn, number 6 and number 8, will increase in size. Number 6 marginally, and number 8 by much more. And based upon Keenan's review, they amended some of their proposed work and deleted it from it. So everything is either conforming or no exacerbation of any pre-existing nonconformity.
Michael, just for the record, what's the date of your report, buddy?
Mine was March 31st, 2022.
3/31/2022, and you don't have any disagreements. You've also had a chance to see Keenan's report of March 29th, and you guys are completely in sync. Is that right, Michael?
Yeah, and Keenan had pointed out the things that they decided to delete from the amended things in terms of some future improvements on the other 2 lots on Shadow Lawn. So I'm totally in agreement with Keenan's report.
Okay,
Perfect.
Chairman Tiger, for counsel, for Clara. Clara, do you have any problem with anything in Michael's report or in Keenan's report?
No, I would just stress again that the items that were raised about future improvements of 8 Shadow Lawn have been removed. And at the time in the future that they want to address this, it'll just be addressed either compliant or go before the board for a variance if need be.
Okay, so Chairman Tiger, I'd suggest let's get her engineer up and he can just affirm everything that we just did and just literally affirm it. And then I think we got a record created and we're all set.
I agree. So
Mr. Glenn, I would add one thing, that actually there are improvements that it's a planner that will testify to that are coming as a result of these lot line adjustments. And the improvements that were future that were taken off was the shed and the driveway, proposed future shed and driveway. So we are no variances, completely compliant with improvements. Now
and
I would
those
like to
improve-
ask Mr. Gruskin.
Let's
Okay,
do
and
a
those
brief-
improvements, the board has no jurisdiction really over because they're all in conjunction with single-family development. Is that correct?
No. I want to state, what I'm saying is that the lot coverage, there are improvements in terms of zoning that are coming as a result of this. As to what were in the plans, a shed and a driveway, they've been removed. They were to be in the future. We took them off. So it's irrelevant to this application.
Okay, let's swear him in.
Is Ken Gruskin on?
Yes, he is.
Oh, okay.
Ken, would you,
Glenn, are you? Go ahead.
I'm going to do it. Ken, would you please raise your right hand? Ken, do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth in proceedings before the board tonight, so help you God?
Yes.
Ken, spell your, I know how to spell Ken. How do you spell your last name, Ken?
G as in George, R, U, S as in Sam, K-I-N.
Ken Gruskin. Are you a licensed professional planner in the state of New Jersey?
I am.
What else are you licensed to do?
I'm a licensed architect as well.
Okay, and your licenses are valid as of tonight?
They are.
And who are you employed by?
Gruskin Group, a professional corporation.
All right, and you regularly do applications before zoning boards and planning boards in the state of New Jersey, and you've been accepted as a qualified expert in this area?
Yes.
I have nothing more, Chairman Tiger.
Yeah, and for the purpose of this application, it's very minor, so I think he's fine. Let's move forward.
I would just ask Mr. Gruskin to explain to the board what's happening on the 3 lots with the lot line changes and the negative and positive criteria, how it's not detrimental and it is in fact an improvement, in your opinion.
Let's show the exhibit, actually. Let's show that exhibit because I think that would be helpful for the board.
Can I share my screen? Am I allowed to do that?
I'd rather show the exhibit because it's been marked as on our side. Is that a problem?
No.
Apu, do you mind showing the one exhibit?
Sure, give me one moment. Mr. Gruskin, if you have the exhibit and it's okay with the chairman, it may be easier for you to show the exhibit that was introduced, but this way you can direct their attention.
Yes, I believe I have the correct exhibit SP8, including a couple other documents that were part of the submission, which were submitted as well.
I just think the map will help the board understand the color-coded map.
I do have that as well.
Go ahead.
Okay, let me just find it here. All right, hopefully you can see my screen and you can see my cursor.
Yep.
Okay, so just to kind of go here for a second, this is a map of the 3 properties that are being reconfigured. This is Lot 2, which is 539 Maisel Avenue. This is Lot 5, which is 6 Shadow Lawn, and then Lot 6, which is 8 Shadow Lawn. And at kind of a high level, what you can see is this on the right is what's being changed. So the blue being Lot 2 basically is being reduced by this area. And then this area here, which is right behind Lot 5, is picked up and combined. And then this area in the red gets absorbed into Lot 6. Now, a couple quick things I just want to cover as well, which I think was mentioned by the attorney, which is these changes not only do not create any additional variances or exacerbate any existing conditions which pre-exist, but in fact create some betterments and actually create more compliance in alignment with the zoning ordinance than previously before. And I'll just be quick and kind of run through that. What I'd like to say first is here for the Maisel property, as Mr. Disco explained, even with this reduction here of the property and the future deck, they're still compliant. No new variances are created, and because this was an oversized lot to begin with. So they, and that land, as we said, the existing property line goes here. So this is the property that we're basically transferring. Now, when we go to lot 5, I'll tell you real quick. So basically the existing rear yard setback, which goes to here, currently there's an existing deck, which is in that setback, and the house is 30 feet back as it exists. Once the land transfer is completed, that 30 feet will go to 58.9 feet, which will not only give you much more room, but no longer will that deck be in that rear setback. So that's one improvement. Additionally, the width of the property is required, the depth of the property is required to be 110 feet of today. Existing, it's only about 100 feet. So once this is done, it'll be 128 feet and 11 inches. So it will now be conforming to that as well. And lastly, as a kind of minor improvement as well, this triangular space, which is going into the adjacent lot here, lot 6, is an odd shape and it's not very efficient. So it makes the lot more regular and more in alignment with the typical desired lot shapes and makes it more functional. So those are definitely some improvements. When we go to lot 6, which is here, we get a few improvements as well. The lot coverage currently is 35%, and the allowed max by ordinance is 27. Well, once the additional land is added, we're going to be at 27%. So that clears up that area as well. Building coverage, currently it's slightly over, it's 25.2%, and the max allowed is 25%. Once the land is added, it'll be 16.4%. So it's under there as well. And lastly, the combined side yard, which is currently compliant exactly at 26%, which is what is required by ordinance, will now increase to 35.4%. So those are all kind of improvements, bringing the lot more into alignment with the ordinance without creating any inherent issues or variances required. So I think with that said, I can just kind of sum up that, obviously with respect, we would look the board to approve this minor subdivision. It is for 3 unique and individual pieces of property, as we've outlined. I believe this approval will advance the purposes of the Springfield Municipal Land Ordinance through the betterments outlined. And I believe the benefits of approving this minor subdivision will not create any detriments or negatively impact the character of these neighborhoods. And lastly, this minor subdivision can be achieved with all these betterments without any variances being required or being requested.
Perfect. I think that was a good way to sum it up. Do you mind unsharing the screen so I can see the rest of my board?
Certainly.
Perfect. Mrs. Larick, anything further?
I would only state that Mr. Gruskin did a great job, but he had stated that the lot coverage was going to be at 27%. And I believe the accurate number is now even reduced down to 23.3%.
Okay.
So it's even better.
Yep. Perfect. Thanks for clearing that up. Okay. Let me go through the board to see if there's any questions since you have no further information. Mayor Kaiser?
I do not have any questions at this time. It was well.
Committeeman Huber?
No, it's good.
Mr. Schwartz?
I'm good, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Schwartz. I see you at the office. Seems like your desk behind you is really clean up shape. Glad my daughter didn't see that because that's what her room's like.
That's what mine looks like.
They
Yeah.
don't pay me to be neat, they pay me to be good.
Yes. Mr. Loeffler?
No questions.
Perfect. Mrs. Ruggiero?
Nothing for me.
Mr. Wishna?
One little question, sorry guys. So I noticed at the rear of, I think it's lot 6, that there seems to be a stormwater detention basin that leads to an easement, a drainage easement. that goes out to the street. I thought when I looked at the revised lot lines that it then incorporates lot 5 into the easement area. Is that accurate or not accurate? I couldn't tell exactly from the engineering plan.
Let me-
Yeah, go ahead.
Let me kick that to Mr. Disco. Mr. Disco?
I think the lot line was coincident with the shared property line, and now it's essentially thrust into lot 6, which is number 8 shadow lot.
It's fully on lot 6 then.
I believe so, yes.
Okay, I just didn't want lot 5 to be burdened by an easement that they might not realize that they're getting with the lot line. Okay, then I have no other question then.
Yeah, I think it was in the review. It's just a statement of fact that
Yeah.
that is with.
Yeah, they don't want
Yes.
to find out when they go to sell their house that there's a imperfection in title. Okay, no other issue.
Good pickup, Scott. Thank you. Ms. Kessel, Vice Chair
Yep.
Kessel?
No questions.
Okay, so the only thing that I had is that the final deed should reference, and you can work this out with Glenn, with our planning board attorney, reference that this lot was subdivided in some way, and you can work that out with the language, similar to what we've done with some other minor site plans that you've been involved with. And that, any of the descriptions for the lot changes would have to be certified by an engineer, not a planner. if that matters.
Well, there will be 3 new deeds recorded. There will be new surveys performed to get accurate legal descriptions to attach to the 3 deeds.
Perfect. That's all I have.
And reference will be made to the memorialized resolution.
Sure. And that'll be, so you and Mr. Keynes can work out what that language should be to be comfortable. together.
Right, so we'll just need some time to prepare the deeds, which have a prerequisite of the surveys to be performed.
Sure. Well, and
Clara, did you get county approval?
Not as yet. We did this first.
Okay, but you're gonna apply for it. That'll be a condition of the approval.
Yeah, it shouldn't be a problem.
I'm not gonna care. Mr. Keynes, Mr. Keynes, not Mr. Keynes, sorry, Mr. Hughes. Keenan, do you have any questions, concerns?
No comments or questions, Mr. Chairman.
Planning standpoint, you're good with this?
No, it's a fully conforming lot line adjustment, and any of the existing nonconformities are actually being improved. So that's it.
Perfect. Apu, any members of the public that wish to speak on application 1-2022S?
Seeing none.
Seeing none? Okay, we'll give it 5 more seconds. Seeing anyone at all?
No.
Okay, seeing none, I'm going to close this matter to the public and open up to the board to vote. Basically, the conditions are county planning board approval. They'll file 3 new deeds with an engineer with the surveys and so forth, work it out with Mr. Keynes, and all the descriptions will be subject to Mr. Keynes' approval, Mr. Keynes' approval and Mr. Disco's approval. And that's it. Anyone on the board want to move it?
Mr. Chairman, I would say one thing for Glenn. I presumably, if the subdivision's approved, any future bulk variances would go to the Board of Adjustment. I assume there'd be no need to retain that to the planning board possession. I just wanted to bring that up for consideration.
No, we don't need jurisdiction on this. It should go, if there's anything for each house, it should go to the zoning board of adjustment.
All right, I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Can we have a quick roll call?
Mayor Kaiser,
Yes.
Committeeman Huber,
Yes.
Mr. Schwartz,
Yes, to approve.
Mr. Lawfer,
Yes.
Ms. Ruggiero,
Yes.
Mr. Wishna,
Yes.
Vice Chair Kessel,
Yes.
and Chairman Tiger.
Yes. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Mr. Keynes will work on trying to get this resolution for April 18th, if not May 4th. We can handle it. So for the board, remember, our next meeting is April 18th at 6:30 in the Township Town Hall. If anything changes, Jen will let you know, but that is the direction that we're going in. Let me also take this time to open anything of the planning board up to the public. If anyone member of the public wish to speak on any business before the board, please raise your hand and speak. Seeing none, Apu, anyone?
Seeing none.
Seeing none, can I have a motion to close the meeting and adjourn?
Wait a minute, why are we going to 6:30, not 7?
Uh,
I mean, I gotta ask, because sometimes I don't get home till 6 after 6.
We're doing it for this meeting to be able to see how it goes and to be able to buffer the ability if we don't know how long the meeting's going to be with the redevelopment application.
Okay. All right, just wanna know.
Don't worry, Rich, you can sit next to me at the meeting.
Oh, yeah, thanks, the punishment.
Get punished. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Moved.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks, everyone.
Nay.
See you.
Thank you, everybody.
Everyone.
Bye-bye.